Hey, all you ghoulish gourmets. And I've adjusted my camera because I don't know, I didn't like that view last time. So there are multiple views. I don't really like this one either because it makes my chin look like I've got a double chin almost, but whatever. We're not here to focus on me. We are here to make this time Farmer Vincent's Fritters, inspired by Motel Hell. Um, Believe it or not, I mean, this was an idea that Jay came up with, for which I'm profoundly grateful for that. However, there is a recipe already in place for this. And you can check out this recipe at horroraddicts.wordpress.com or horroraddicts.net, and there's something called Morbid Meals Tribute to Motel Hell, Farmer Vincent's Fritters. So I invite all of you to check that out. I don't know if there's any more recipes, but I do notice that, I did find this one. It was a blog that somebody had put a post to. So I thought that was really cool, and it makes my life easier when I'm making these because I didn't have to come up with it from scratch. Okay. And so I do have the recipe printed out in my hot little hand here, so that I would have something to go by. Sorry for the little bit of a glare in here. I'm not sure why that's happening because I usually, maybe I need to turn that off. Maybe that'll cut down on some of the glare. And I'll only turn the overhead light on the stove on when I need it. Okay, so I had the haunted food cam set up. I don't have it on right now, but I have my bowl and my spoon and all of this, in order that you can see when I'm mixing stuff up. Now, as I said the last time I did one of these, I almost need a third camera to be on what I'm doing on the stove. Okay. But I don't have that right now. And truth be told, I'm not really financially able to purchase another camera or anything like that right now. So we're just going to have to make do with this camera and my phone as the other camera and hope that everything stays charged, does not go down on us during this recording. Okay, so I'm also not doing this as a live. I chose or opted to do a video instead because I think for this type of recipe, it would be a little bit easier. Because I'm not going to be on here all the time I'm frying these fritters, okay? Because, you don't really need to see that, do you? I mean, I can tell you that you're going to fry them in oil, and I can trust that any of you that are handy in the kitchen can fry up your own fritters. Now, the recipe that I have basically tells you, oh, I'm turning that back on, tells you two different ways that you can cook these. I am going to go the griddle cake method, um, because it seems a lot easier. Okay. Um, so the griddle cake method is not deep frying them. I would have to get out my deep fryer and everything to do the other one. So these will be like, they'll almost look like salmon patties or hash browns or something like that. Um, so you basically mix the meat in the batter and then you fry them up, in the skillet, which is the part that I'm not going to sit here and show you the whole time we're frying these things. And I'm also sorry that my hair is sticking out everywhere right now. And I don't know why, but uh, oops, didn't mean to mute myself. Yeah. I think the only way I'm going to be able to edit this a little bit would be to go out of the video, and I'm not going to do that right now. So, what do we need to make these lovely Farmer Vincent's fritters? We do need, now I only have a pound of it, but they suggest that you have a pound and a half of shredded meat of your choice. Okay. So I wanted to get mutton, but I was not able to get mutton or even brisket. So what I got was a pound of Lloyd's Barbecue Company seasoned shredded chicken in original barbecue sauce. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit more seasoning on our meat as well. Now, this is going to be, it's fully cooked. You know, you could probably pick up something similar at your local grocery store, okay, or Walmart or whatever. Um, and a lot of times they will have pork if you want to use pork, beef, brisket, stuff like that. I was limited, unfortunately, on what I could get. It seemed that every place was out of the brisket or the beef. So I opted to do the chicken. So that it's shredded meat of your choice. So whatever you want and whatever you can obtain is you're free to use it in this. Okay. So we also need some paprika. And they say smoked paprika, but I just have Smidge and Spoon. This is the Kroger store brand ground paprika. If you have smoked paprika, then by all means use that. Um, we also need some ground cumin. Okay, so I've got some of that. And some salt and pepper to taste. We also, now they say to use 4 strips of bacon. Now, my mom always taught me that you could use bacon grease. You know, they say to crumble the bacon pieces into the meat. However, I think I'm just going to use this bacon grease I've got to season it. Okay. If you have bacon around the house, by all means use it. And they say 4 strips of bacon. And you can also use a fourth of a cup of onion finely chopped, or in my case, I'm going to be using onion powder because I'm being lazy today. Okay? And you can also use 2 garlic cloves minced, or again, in my case, because I'm lazy today, I'm going to be using garlic powder. Okay? If they give me a choice, a lot of times I will pick the easier choice. Okay, so that's for the filling. That's for the meat filling. Now, for the batter, we need 2 large eggs, which I'm going to get out now. And I usually get Simple Truth, natural cage free, grain fed brown eggs. Okay, so there you go. Set these aside because we're going to use those. Right. And I do get these from Kroger's, but if you want brown eggs, then I'm sure you can get them at your store of choice. Okay. We also need a cup of milk or water. I am going to use milk. The milk is remaining in the refrigerator till I get ready to use it. Don't want to spoil. We also need 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, which never fear, I have more flour. Just have to put it into my. Okay. And we also need, again, salt and pepper to taste. We need some oil for frying. I have canola oil, but you can use your oil of choice for this. And then we need a large mixing bowl, a medium mixing bowl, and a frying pan or skillet. Okay. All right. So a little bit of, background a little bit on this before we get started. There are basically 2 ways to make the fritters, as I told you earlier. One is to mix the meat filling into the batter and fry them like griddle cakes, which is what I'm going to do today. The other way is to make patties or balls and then dip them in the batter and deep fry them. And they do provide directions for both. So we're going to start out and we're going to prepare our filling. So in our large mixing bowl, we're going to toss together our meat. So I am going to go over here and I am going to bring up the haunted food cam and I'm going to make this the solo layout. Hopefully everybody can still hear me and all that. So we also noticed that I've got my Halloween mixing spoon here. So we're going to open up our Lloyd's seasoned shredded chicken here. So keep in mind, this is already fully cooked. If you get this or something similar, you're not going to have to pre-cook this, okay? But if you're starting, with raw meat, by all means, make sure you cook it. I think I'm going to get food out here because this is kind of thick. Gonna get that out. All right. Got all that out. All right. So then, doesn't that look good, guys and gals? We are going to put our paprika, our cumin, our salt and pepper. We're going to mix that together and we're going to set it aside. So how much paprika do we need here? Let's go back. We need a tablespoon of paprika. Make sure you have plenty of paprika here. I forgot to get my measuring spoon out, so let's get those out. And we're going to take that tablespoon of paprika in there. Paprika. And as I always say, my mom taught me the key to having less mess at the end is to put up and clean away, put away and clean up as you go along. All right. So we also need a teaspoon of the cumin. Okay. You get a little more, a little more. Sometimes it's okay. Yeah. And then we're going to put a little salt and pepper in here. And remember, it says just a taste, so don't, over season it. Get a good amount in there. All right. I know some of you are on low salt or salt-free diets, different health reasons. And, feel free to limit your salt or whatever you need to do. So we're going to mix this together. A little seasonings in there. Keep in mind, too, that my meat is already got some barbecue sauce on it, which definitely doesn't hurt anything. There might be some of you that want to get barbecue meat, and then there may be some people that don't like barbecue meat. They want to start with something more plain. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. Give that another good mix there. All right, so we're going to get out another bowl. Give me just 1 second here, and hopefully Hopefully nothing will come tumbling out here as I try to get another bowl out. I hear some of my dogs coming. Okay, so I'll be able to see that real good. Okay, so now uh, in a skillet over medium heat, fry your bacon strips until, okay, so we're not really frying uh, bacon strips. We are going to put a little bacon grease in our skillet, okay? And if you have bacon or you want to use bacon, then by all means do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put good helping of, I know you can't see what's going on in the skillet, and I apologize. Um, we're going to put some bacon grease in that skillet, and we're going to put it on medium heat there. And we're going to put, while that's heating up, we're going to go ahead and get um, a teaspoon of onion powder, and we're going to put in here. Okay. Bye. Like I said, by all means, if you have onions and garlic, not being lazy like I am, all means. I think I did the garlic powder instead of. Okay. Well, it'll be okay. I got a little more than I intended in there of garlic powder, but I'm going to call it. Then we're going to get a teaspoon onion powder. This will just be a little bit more garlicky one. I'm not opposed to that. Hopefully nobody else is either. And we're going to let that bacon grease melt. And then we're going to mix in those two seasonings in there. Now, if you are using bacon and you're using real garlic and real onions, then you just want to cook them in that with the bacon until the onion and the garlic are soft and sort of translucent. Again, Pioneer Woman does not sponsor my videos in any way, shape, or form. But I am using a Pioneer Woman skillet, cast iron skillet, and a Pioneer Woman spatula here. And it definitely smells like onion and garlic. So hopefully all of you watching this like onion and garlic. And hey, it'll keep the vampires away, right? Okay. So let me put me as a solo layout. No, I know y'all don't want to necessarily see me, but we're just trying to mix this around. We don't want this bacon grease to kind of scorch or anything like that. Just trying to let that bacon grease melt. and get the onion powder and garlic powder kind of mixed up in there. Okay, so now we're going to pour the onion powder, the garlic powder, and the grease into our meat mixture. And some of you may be thinking, ew, gross. We don't want to do that. But trust me, it's going to be okay. Okay? I am going to take this over. Oop, maybe we should have left our meat mixture over here. Didn't you? Live and learn, all right? See that lovely meat again, maybe. Let's make that a solo layout again. And we are putting our heat off because we don't want a fire, right? Pour this grease with the seasonings in there. Okay. Put that right there. We're going to mix that grease and seasoning in. All right. So now, I'm sorry I am going to take time to look at this, but this is the first time making these. Okay. So, mix well to incorporate. And if you are using bacon instead of just bacon grease, then you would want to crumble your bacon in this meat mixture as well. Okay. Okay. So to make the batter, now we need to, this is where we need to get our other mixing bowl. Okay? And we're going to make our batter now. So we want to put our 2 eggs in here. Be careful, because I've done it. As much as I've cooked in the kitchen, I have still done this. Try to make sure you don't get any shells in there, but you just get the egg yolk, egg white in there. Okay? And we want to, I'm just going to, you can take a whisk or you can take a fork. This is a fork, so I used to see my mom do this. You want to beat those 2 eggs. Those eggs beat real good. Oh, my nose is itching like crazy. All right. So then we're going to add our milk or water. So how much do we need again? We need 1 cup of milk or water. I am going to be using milk. You can use water if you prefer, or, if you're on a dairy-free diet, if you have an intolerance to dairy, then, feel free to use a milk or dairy substitute, or use water. Okay. We'll put our milk in there. Uh, and then you whisk in the flour, salt, and pepper. Whisk together until you have a batter with no lumps, okay? So that's the key, right? No lumps in our batter. So how much flour do we need? We need 1 1/4 cups flour. I'm going to set some of this over to the side here. And I measure out 1 1/4 cups of flour. They have enough without opening. Yeah, we're just going to have just enough. Okay. We're going to kind of slowly pour this flour in there. Try to not get any lumps. And you can bring your whisk out for this purpose too. You don't necessarily have to use that straight from the side there. I'm going to also put a little salt and pepper too. Remember, we don't want to go overboard on our salt and pepper because we don't want it too salty or too peppery, do you? Peppery a word? It is for my purposes. And I'm not going to say that you failed. You do have lumps. We're just going to try our best not to have any lumps or not too many lumps. It's looking sort of like pancake batter. Although, trust me, it's not going to taste like pancake batter. Because why? Because we're going to put salt and pepper in it. Yeah. A little bit of salt in there. We have to do it this way. Okay. Then we're just putting salt and pepper to taste in there. I'm going to put this onion powder away here too. Good. That looks nice. That looks pretty smooth. All right. So I'm going to set some of this stuff to the side. Get it out of the way here. All right. So now to actually make fritter cakes, which is a choice I decided on. What we're going to do here is we're going to, if you prefer the griddle cake method, turn your skillet back on medium heat. Add about 2 tablespoons of oil. Get us a nice good coating on here. And remember, we're going to have a little bit of grease left from the bacon, right? Okay. Because we don't want our stuff to stick. Right? One thing we don't want to have. And I'm using my back burner as opposed to my front large burner because I've been having some problems with it for about the past year or so, where it gets too hot. Even if I have it on medium heat, it gets way too hot. So I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk a fire or burning our food or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to allow that to heat up a little bit. And then we're going to pour in some of your batter or batter into the meat mixture and mix thoroughly. We may not need all of the batter. The mixture should bind well and maybe be a little loose. So, and then, um, well, we'll get that started. We'll heat up our oil, and while it's doing that, we will start putting a little bit of batter in this meat. Now remember, they said we might not need all of it. All right, well, let's put a little bit in there. Mix that in the meat. Remember, they said it should bind well and maybe be a little bit loose. Okay? I am a little bit messy. Stuff. Okay. Just kind of folding that batter. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and use all of this, okay? Be on the safe side. You guys can just make your own judgment on that. So that in there. Okay. So then we are going to take a ladle, and I do have a couple of ladles here. Neither of these ladles that I have are Pioneer Woman. Let's there we go. This is my ladle I'm going to use. So we're going to spoon out a little bit and make little, griddle cakes with this, okay? So with a large spoon or ladle, we're going to measure out enough meat batter mixture for 2 cakes. We can do more if we have room in our skillet or make smaller cakes. So we're going to fry these until golden brown on both sides. That's about 2 minutes per side. And then set the cooked fritters aside and dry on a paper towel lined plate, which is something my mom taught me a long time ago, is a way to drain the grease off of stuff. Okay. So I am going to go ahead, get a couple of these going here. You hear that sizzling? That means our oil is good and hot. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get too overzealous here. I'm going to do just the two and keep an eye on these two so we don't burn them or anything. And I am going to pause the recording while I'm doing this because you guys don't need to watch that. And I will be back here really soon. Okay, so we're back. And now, depending on what kind of meat you guys use, you guys and gals use, yours may not have the color of mine. You notice mine is a little bit reddish, a little bit orangish. And some of you may say, "Oh God, that looks awful." Trust me, I taste tested a little bit of these. They taste great. Now, if you don't use meat that's got barbecue sauce on it, yours are probably going to be more golden brown and not orangey like these. Okay. So I just wanted to show you kind of what they look like. Uh, Again, I did taste test them. They do taste really, really good. Um, and I did get some oil on my recipe. I dripped oil on it. I tend to do sometimes. But here's some little tips for you on this. Um, so as for serving these, they go well with mashed potatoes and gravy, or they make excellent sandwiches. Now, the fritter balls that are deep fried are fantastic with honey mustard or sweet and sour sauce. So there's some tips for you guys and gals that are wanting to try these out. Maybe want to know what to put with them. Um, so I'm going to exit solo layout here. And that's all we have for today. I went on for about 38 minutes total. And I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope this looks appetizing to you. Now, again, keep in mind, depending on the type of meat you're using, the shredded meat, and whether it has sauce on it or where it doesn't have sauce on it, that is going to affect the coloring of these things. Okay. So don't let the color of mine just like completely turn you off. Because they're griddle cakes. They're not going to look absolutely beautiful. You know, have any of you ever made like fried green tomatoes? Fried green tomatoes don't look too pretty sometimes, but man, they taste good if you like fried green tomatoes. Same thing with these. Um, so I hope nobody is turned off by it. I'm hoping this makes people want to make these things. And no, mine are not burnt either. They might be a little darker around the edges, but the way my phone films it, it makes it look a little darker than that. And my dog Brink is in here with me in the kitchen, and she kind of wants one of these, but I don't think I'm going to give it to her. But I want to thank everybody for joining me for another movie Munchies. And I'll be back again this coming weekend on Sunday because now I am restricting these to just one per weekend. Usually on Sundays. Sometimes I will do lives with them, but for this, I thought it was better to do a video. So I hope you guys and gals have enjoyed this, and hope that you want to go out and make your own Farmer Vincent's fritters because it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters. And I will see you guys next time. I hope you have a great evening and a wonderful start to your week on Monday. Bye for now, guys.